Meth's so addictive because it creates an incredibly high level of pleasure in the brain and makes you feel incredibly good. Recent statistics indicate that the dopamine level that rises in the pleasure center of the brain when you do methamphetamine is 1,100%, where cocaine is 300% rise. It is an extreme high. Yeah.
Meth has such an impact on the brain, the dopamine. It is 200 times more powerful than the pleasure of sex. This is huge. It's not natural. I don't think we were ever meant to feel that good, but anything that makes someone feel that good, it's going to bring them right back.
That's the worst part, you know, talking about it now even. I think, like, God, you know, I lied to everybody. I lied to myself, you know, and it just really, it changed the person that I was. It changed the person that I was. And I'm very different now. Jail was involved in the whole process. I wasn't arrested on a drug charge or anything like that, but because of drugs, I failed to appear. You get out and everything's over. Everything's done and it's all gone. But the first thing you do when you get out is get high. You know, you start off big, you're rolling, but eventually you get rid of all your stuff. You don't have a PSP to play, or a PS2 to sell anymore. You sold that. You sold your microwave. You sold your whatever. You sold your big screen TV for dope, and all of a sudden you don't have any dope. That's, oh my God, that's you're crazy. That's when people start like breaking into homes and stealing stuff, and that's when you start stealing from your parents, and you start, you know, stealing from your friends. And that's, you know, that's when you really lose your soul, is when you get out there. Because when at high times, when you're rolling, when you got money, that's great. But it's the low times that, you know, and they come really hard.
I think one of the main things that kept me using over the last couple of years was the mother guilt that I carried. The guilt from not having my children with me, or for choosing something like that over them, for putting them in some of the situations that I put them in. And we're still recovering from it. It's been the hardest thing to forgive myself for that. You know, your kids will forgive you very easily. My children think I hung the moon. And I thank God for that every day, because they've kept me going.
You know, I think a lot of people are under the misimpression that addiction happens when someone has weak character, or they're a bad person, or, you know, those types of things. But the reality of addiction is that it's a physiological illness, and it's a combination of other factors. You know, maybe, you know, a lack of coping skills. And to me, it's much like diabetes is. You know, you don't suddenly wake up with it. It's there, and it develops, and it may be there at different levels. And in the same way, you don't wake up one morning and say, I'm no longer going to be a diabetic, and it goes away. I don't think you can wake up one morning and say, I'm no longer an addict, but you can treat it, and you can control it over time with treatment, with therapy. I think recovery is a very possible thing for people. We see it here all the time.